Today I'm going to be showing you an issue I'm having with a 2008 Nissan Quest. The issue is the blower runs at full speed, and it doesn't matter what if you try to turn the selector off at all. I'll show you real quick. Start it up. As you can see, the blower selector is off. If you turn it on, do get some AC working. None of the speed selectors will change the blower speed at all. And if you turn it off, it continues to run. It's very annoying, but at least I guess it's better than not having any ventilation at all. I've changed out the blower motor resistor a few times, and it seems to fix the problem for less than a day, and then the switch actually works again, and the speeds work, but then inevitably it'll stop working. So today I'm going to be trying to try a few other things. First thing I'm going to do is change out the blower motor. So to change out the blower motor in this 2008 Nissan Quest, you have to pop up this indicator panel here. This panel will show you the status of the vehicle, radio stations. It'll show you temperature, tire pressure, things like that. Allows you to set up a lot of things as well. So try to do this with one hand to get started. You simply lift up. Might take a bit of pressure. I noticed the back clips are in there the tightest, so just continue to, you don't want to break anything, so you continue to pull up. Once you pop up this plate, you can see that there is a clip wiring harness there. You just push down on the top and pull out. It'll come right out. All right, with the panel out, now you see we have a plate. It has to be removed. The plate is needs to be removed in order to get this plastic. It's a vent piece here, has to come out. But first you have to remove this plate. 4 screws. I typically prefer to use a stubby Phillips, just because it'll hit against the windshield if it's too long for the back screws. All right, I have the 4 Phillips head screws out. Now you just simply lift the plate up, comes right out. Like I said, this gives you access to the air duct, and it's held in with 2 7mm bolts. I'm going to use my my wrench here to take that out. Also, there's a wire clipped over here on there. You need to pull this wire out of the holder there. Push your cables off to the side. All right, now that the bolts are out, you can lift up on this air duct. It is in there pretty tight, and it's thin plastic, so luckily it's able to bend a little bit to get it out. It takes some work, but it basically has to pull straight out. And this edge here, you might have to bend a little bit to get it up and out. So the trick to getting this out is you lift this end out first, and this side I was able to get out first, and then you're able to just maneuver it out. You can see that it does bend a bit, but this will get you access to the blower. Okay, now that the air duct is out, you can see that there is the blower, and it has 4 bolts you need to unscrew, and you can grab it by this bar here and lift it right up. And it has 1 connector here. It's coming off the right side for reference when you put this back in. Connect it over here, pull that connector apart. So I'm gonna put the camera down and take these bolts out. To get these back bolts out, I'm using a universal for the socket, and it's a 7/32 or 5.5 millimeter to access these back bolts. With all the bolts out and the wiring harness unclipped, you can grab, like I said, on this bar here, and it may be a little sealed in there, but you lift straight up. And here again, luckily there's a lot of plastic here. Probably take 2 hands to clear these brackets. And there's the blower squirrel cage has to clear that other duct there. So I'm going to use 2 hands to get that out. So what I did is I near the front of the car, I grabbed just like I did with the shroud, I grabbed this edge first and just kind of rolled with the squirrel cage out of there, and it came right out. And this is what it looks like. This has quite a bit of, I guess that could be like brush dust or just maybe dust in general. Seems to turn okay, but I'll compare that to the other motor. The motor I bought has to be mounted back in this this frame. It doesn't include all this. It's just this piece here. But I'll compare the two and show you the results of what we get. Of course, while you have the motor out, you should check for any obstructions. This looks pretty clean in there. Not really seeing anything that would inhibit the airflow, which I was getting good airflow anyway. Here are the two. There on the right is the blower I'm taking out, that I took out, and on the left is the replacement. As you can see, I have to get the replacement into the shroud, the mount. Here you can see I have our problematic, well, I assume problematic blower here. It actually turns about the same as the replacement. I'm still going to try the replacement though, because it is well, it's new, and it was only between $50 and $60 on Amazon, and it even comes with a new cable, which probably is a good idea in case that could be contributing to the issue. But as you can see, I have to replace the motor and the squirrel cage fans to be able to put that back in the assembly here. To get this motor out of this package here, you have to, same 5.5 millimeter bolts. There's 3 right here. Looks like that'll split this shroud off of here. Was able to do it just by hand using this extension. So make sure when you install the new motor, you notice right here there's an arrow indicating the direction that the blower has to go in. The replacement motor does not have separate colors for the fans. This one had a light one on the driver's side and a darker fan blade on the passenger side. This one is black on both sides, but you can see the indicator arrow, so it looks like it's turning. If you're sitting in the seat where I was taking the assembly out, the blower should be turning towards the front of the vehicle. I should mention that when you take out the three bolts here on this side, that there's also some alignment pins on either side of the shroud. And they're also, let's see if you can see it here, there's a Torx, I think it's a T25 head screw that you have to take off to take the shroud completely off. With the Torx head screw out, you can see the pins here that hold the two halves together. The other side of the shroud just slid off, and now the whole assembly can come up. Now you have your motor completely free from the shroud, and I can see a lot of brush dust in there, so I'm not sure. Quite a bit of corrosion on the windings. Not sure if this is going to fix the issue or not, but it's a cheap fix, so I'm going to replace it. And you just need to connect up your cable that they included with the new motor. Snap that in, connect it up, reassemble it the same way. Here is the motor back fully assembled in the shroud. Be careful of your pins here, your alignment pins. They feel pretty cheap. The whole shroud's pretty flimsy, but when you rebolt those 4 spots there, it'll stiffen it up. I would recommend you start the Torx screw first, just get it started with a couple threads, and then align up your pins on both sides, and then start tightening down the 3 bolts evenly. And then once you get everything aligned properly, you can give it all a good snug. It should spin freely, which this one does. So hopefully this will make a difference. Has the new cable on it, and we'll put it back in the reverse order that we took it out. Putting back in the new blower assembly, I'm going to start with the end that's facing me first. Get the shroud past those metal brackets here, and then it should slide in. The blower assembly is back in. The trick I found was to get the back side of this shroud past these 2 clips. I started on this end first, then got this end underneath these clips first, and then I was able to roll the unit in, and it dropped in. Otherwise, it seemed like it was getting offset every time I tried to put in, but it's in there now solid. And I may just plug it in just to see if it's not bound up or anything. It did flex quite a bit going back in here, but we'll plug it in and see if it's gonna turn freely and not hit anything. It's blowing out real well. Sounds normal. No bad sounds of anything hitting, so we're gonna tighten everything back up and put it back in the reverse order. Just a couple pointers. Again, I was just use this universal. I was able to hand tighten these pretty much all the way. 5.5 millimeter socket, 4 bolts, and make sure you route your blower cable accordingly. It's got to go under that shroud we're going to put back right here. Little collateral damage of taking this blower in and out, but I'm sure it'll be fine. And there's a little seat, a little clip here for the wire to sit in, it looks like. Make sure all that's snugged away. I'll snug these bolts up and get the shroud back in. Just going to show how I'm going to start the shroud to put it back in. Put the bottom end in first and maneuver this piece here, and this will flex up top here to clear the bottom part of the shroud. You have to work at it a little bit. So I found if you get this end in with this, maneuver this in on the passenger side first, and you can clear the rest of it. Shroud's in place. 7 millimeter bolt, 2 bolts hold it down. I actually dropped one down there, so I'm going to see if I can fish it out from the bottom. Once again, continuing the troubleshooting of why my blower motor will not turn off. The blower motor's been replaced. Probably still need to replace the resistor again. But this switch, I want to take this apart, this front dash assembly, and see why this switch, if there's an issue there, or at least see how hard it is to get to that. We'll have to take off 2 bolts here behind this door, as well as 3 here at the bottom. Remove this glove compartment assembly, and behind there would be your blower resistor, which we'll have to take out. I believe all this has to come out anyway to remove this shroud here, so I'll start on that. Once you have removed, there are actually 5 Phillips head screws. The glove compartment assembly just pops out with clips. Don't forget to remove this light bulb for your glove compartment before. It's on a very short, has a very short wire, so you don't pull it out. By the way, this light bulb only works with your parking lights or headlights on, otherwise you won't see it on ever. Made me think it was burnt out. You just remove your glove compartment assembly then. You can see we have the glove compartment assembly out. There's where the clips would go on each side. The bulb's free. You can see back in here, the white clip is where we have the blower resistor. You can see a bolt on the top and bottom, above and below the clip. That's that 5.5 millimeter bolt size. Slightly to the left of that assembly is actually where your cabin air filter would go. It actually has 3 of those same bolts if you wanted to change that. But I'll probably change that blower resistor after I'm done taking the rest of this shroud off right here. Want to take all this off. Again, that's so I can get to the fan switch. So to begin this disassembly, I'm going to take off this piece of the shroud here. This should snap out. Has a light in there, as you can see. Down here, it's a clip. It's one of those plastic retainer clips. I'm going to pop it out with a screwdriver and pull it out after that, and that should remove that, which will allow me to get to this vent shroud here. Not sure what it's called, but so I was able to pull out that plastic clip. That's what that looks like. I'm using a pair of Knipex Cobra pliers. I love these things. They stay in place to the position you want. And now I'll be able to pull this shroud out. Here's a shot of the shroud out. Like I said, just held on with clips. After you get the plastic clip out, there's where the clips go in. I'll just twist out the light. So same thing on the driver's side. Again, here's the clip that has to be taken out first, so you can get this piece of the panel out, which just has clips after you have the black clip out. And then this black shroud here just pops out with clips near the front. Lets you remove that. I started to remove this main center shroud here. Clips so far holding it. Then I've met some resistance down here at the bottom, and I noticed that it has two 7mm bolts. So I'll have to take those out and see what else I have to remove on the driver's side to get that off. With the shroud half off, you're able to pull up on this panel here. It looks like it'll pop right out, but before you can do that, I knew about this. You have to push down on this silver piece on this model, it'll reveal a clip that has to be, this clip has to be pulled off from the back side here, and then you can lift the handle up. Once you have the handle off, then this handle's off, then you can slide this whole piece up, hopefully. So I'm gonna try that next. So I was able to get my Knipex pliers around here. You don't want to lose this clip, and I just want to pull back like that. See, I have the clip out. With the clip out, you should be able to pull the assembly right off there, like so, and we can lift the whole panel up. Make sure you don't lose the clip. I was able to lift up that whole assembly. Didn't have to take off the rest of this bottom shroud. Lift up the whole assembly. You may be able to leave that whole bottom shroud on and force something in between. Looks like these may have been broken at some point because the clips didn't come out, but they are just clips. This probably just being clipped in there from the top should just pop right off. Just wanted to show you the number of connections you have to take off to get this all the way out. But now you have full access to the fan switch. Here's the light bulb for the drive reverse light. Had to twist that counterclockwise to get that out. I wanted to show you what a kind of wire switch, wire plug I haven't seen before. So on this type here, what you have to do is you have to press down with a screwdriver right here on this piece, like so, and this plastic. And you'll be able to take this plastic piece and rock it back, and then everything comes out like a little cam activated socket. Push it back in, slide it the other direction, the opposite direction, till you hear it click. So that's how you get those out. I just wanted to show that. Here's the complete assembly out. All the plugs are unplugged. What I've seen someone else mention online is they're able to wipe this area. This is the piece that needs to be replaced. I haven't yet bought one, but they're only available on eBay, not from the dealer. So I might just try that. Doesn't seem like that ought to work or do anything different, but now at least I know I can get to this easily. If I want to replace this, it looks like it's just 4 Torx screws to pop this assembly out, and they were like $50 on eBay. So now at least I know I can get to it easily, readily, if my blower issue isn't corrected. Here's a shot of the blower motor resistor out of the compartment. The two 5.5 millimeter bolts removed. The plug, pinch it, pull it back towards you, and there's where the new spot where the new resistor has to go. So I have a shot here of the new blower motor resistor. Has 4 fins instead of 3. The plug connector is a little offset, but it works, it fits. Your mounting holes are identical. I've had some say, I can't find any of this type. This is what came out, the OEM. I can't find this. Nissan says they can't get it. Picked this up on Amazon for $25. They range from $25 to $100, so you decide. I've had some people say that this one, the new one, must be more substantial because it has 4 fins versus 3, but you can see the girth of this original, this OEM. It's a lot more substantial than this newer part. So not really sure. We'll see what happens. Okay, the new blower resistor is in place, and The bolts match up fine. The 5.5 millimeter bolts match up fine. All I need to do now is just clip in the plug. I'm going to need 2 hands. Alright, there's the new blower motor resistor back in place. I had a little bit of trouble getting the plug on there. The tines, I think they're called, inside the resistor were a little bent too far to the side. I had to straighten them out before the plug could go in there and snap, and it's all back in place. So now that I have the assembly all out, what I saw online is you could actually just try to clean the connectors, wipe them down. I blew them out with some air. I'll wipe them down. Probably need 2 hands for that. Also did blow out the sockets right here again, where the fan switch is, the blue and the black. So blew those out. We'll just see. I know I can get to it now easily, so I'll wipe these down a little better and put it all back together. The console is back in place. I haven't buttoned everything up yet, but if I turn the key on, I no longer get the blower sound at all. I do have speeds, different speeds I can do. We'll see how long this lasts. I'll make sure I update if it does indeed fix the issue. If not, my next step would be to replace this piece here. I mentioned that looks like I could only find it on eBay used, so but for right now it is working. Hope you like this video. Hope you found it helpful. Thank you.